What's up mga kababayan, page trending here. At dito sa video natin ngayon ay ating panoorin tong last part ng Day 15 impeachment trial ni VP Sara. Hindi nakalampas kay Atty. Sison itong mga ginagawa ng prosecution na kung saan habang nagko-cross-examine ng defense team, panay pamumulitika sa social media ang ginagawa. No? Kung kaya naman ang ginawa nitong si Atty. Sison, kanyang hinighlight na bawal ito. Na pati ang pagkomento sa pagbibigay kulay sa impeachment trial hindi naman talaga dapat. Kung kaya naman hindi maiwasang matamaan, no? Itong prosecution counsel na si Attorney Ligutan. Pahiya na naman sila mga kababayan. Gawa ng alam nila na hindi nila mabira, no? Ang defense team ni VP Sara, dinadaan na lang sa social media ang kanilang pagngangaw-ngaw. Pero bago ang lahat, huwag niyo po sana nakalimutan mag-like at subscribe para updated ka sa mga uploads ko araw-araw. At yun na nga no mga kababayan, nasabi pa ng private prosecutor pero puro pagso-social media ang ginagawa sa loob ng courtroom. Kung kaya naman hindi ko na patatagalin pa, ito na ang buong video.
We just want to put on record that
Can you
we
place on
are-
record the order?
Yes. We are moving for the reissuance of subpoena ad testificandum for the following trial dates, August 17, 18, and 19, to the same witnesses as follows. One is Ms. Marivic Pareja, the House of Representatives Legislative Information Bureau Director. Second is Ms. Gina F. Acosta, the former Special Disbursing Officer of the OVP, or Office of the Vice President. The third is Edward Fajarda, the former Special Disbursing Officer of the Department of Education. We understand, Your Honor, that the Honorable Impeachment Court already noted their respective addresses. However, please note that the subpoena for Edward D. Fajarda must be addressed to the Office of the Vice President as well. Likewise,
Yes,
Your
because
Honor,
he's already transferred to that office.
in line with our intention as well to maximize our time in presenting the prosecution's witnesses, we are likewise requesting for the issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to Lemuel G. Ortonio, Assistant Secretary, Assistant Chief of Staff of the Office of the Vice President, with the same address at OVP Office, Your Honor, in Mandaluyong City.
So this is the fourth one.
Sorry, Your Honor.
This is the fourth one.
This is the fourth one, Your Honor. And we would like to put on record as well that the written manifestation with request for subpoenas ad testificandum has been furnished to the defense and has been filed with the Office of the Clerk of Court of the Honorable Impeachment Court.
And the chair would like to remind the lead counsel to kindly furnish the counsel for the respondent any requested stipulation for documents you may want to prior to the scheduled trial of on Monday. So hopefully within the day or tomorrow, so that they can already comment on it in open court on Monday.
We submit, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Any other matter you want to take up, counsel for respondent?
Your Honor, good afternoon. I confirm receipt of the manifestation with the request for subpoenas ad testificandum for the four intended witnesses of the prosecution for next week. I would just like to inquire the order in which the prosecution intends to present these four witnesses, specifically who would be their witness on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, just for our guidance.
I believe it is in the order stated Pareja, followed by Acosta, followed by Fajarda, and then
Ortonio, Your
Ortonio.
Honor. We confirm, Your Honor.
In that order. So the subpoena for Ortonio will be issued only on 18 and 19 for sure, because surely we cannot take him up on the 17th.
Thank you for the clarity, Your Honor. Second item is that we also would like to confirm that as of today, in response to the directive of the presiding officer, we have not yet received any request for any potential stipulations or any factual stipulations the prosecution intends to ask from the defense. However, the more important manifestation that I would like to make today, Your Honor, is in relation to a social media post that I happened to see. And this was posted at 11:29 a.m. by one of the private prosecutors, Attorney Amando Virgil Ligutan, posting that a principal or lawyers and law students know by heart misleading questions are not allowed even in cross-examination. Now, this was posted and picked up by Inquirer.net at 11:29 a.m. today. And I surmise that this has something to do with the exchange between the private prosecutor, Attorney Kapunan, and the defense counsel, Attorney Ferrer, on the matter of the cross-examination question that Attorney Ferrer asked the prosecution's witness. And I have here a transcript because I find it troubling that a private prosecutor would do this in the middle of a courtroom hearing. Because as far as I'm concerned, impeachment court is also a court of decorum. And the rules on impeachment under Rule 18 actually prohibits
Correct.
participants, especially lawyers, from commenting about the merits of the case. Now, one may argue that this isn't about the merits of the case, that he probably was just commenting about what ought or ought not to do in a cross-examination, but we're not naive. What the private prosecutor is talking about. He's here. He can explain it. He can explain himself if the presiding officer so desires. But I really just find it in bad taste to do this at this time. And I think it is inappropriate to do that to a fellow member of the bar, because even as we sit on the opposing side
Nasabi pa ng
of this
appropriation
hall, we remain to be both members of the bar, and as officers of the court, we owe each other respect, politeness, or even kindness. And it doesn't take one to be a lawyer to know that the first thing that our parents teach us to do is humility.
Your Honor.
No, I'm not yet done, Your Honor. In fact, I have asked one of our lawyers to review the actual transcript from the video that transpired between the prosecutor and Attorney Ferrer, and it would seem that in the heat of the exchange, or in the passionate exchange of the arguments between the prosecutor and Attorney Ferrer was not even actually referring to misleading questions as allowed, as implied in the social media post of Attorney Ligutan. In fact, it's here. The court can confirm this from a replay of the video. Attorney Ferrer, sinabi ho ba yan sa JC na dapat may mahuli? The witness answers, ang nakalagay po kasi sa JC under 4.8.2 ay proof of success. Attorney Ferrer, hindi. Sorry, Your Honor, please. Attorney Kapunan, let the witness answer, Your Honor. Mr. Presiding Officer, can the counsel be instructed not to stop the witness mid-sentence, Your Honor? Attorney Ferrer, Your Honor, please, can the witness be directed to just answer with yes or no? The counsel has her time to ask clarificatory questions later during redirect, Your Honor. And Attorney Kapunan, not all questions can be answered by yes or no. This is the meat of the contention of the argument between Attorney Kapunan and Attorney Ferrer. Attorney Ferrer responded, I am on cross, Your Honor, please. And the presiding officer said, counsels. Attorney Kapunan responded, never mind if you are on cross, Your Honor. There are limits to cross-examination. Misleading questions are not allowed on cross. This was the first time that the matter on misleading questions was actually raised by Attorney Kapunan. And Attorney Ferrer, for some reason, said they are allowed, but she was pertaining to the fact that the questions to which a yes or no answer may be answerable are
Correct.
allowed. She's not referring to misleading. I mean, in effect, Attorney Ferrer was only saying that leading questions are allowed on cross-examination, not misleading questions, and yet we have a private prosecutor immediately taking to social media and posting this, implying something against the defense counsel. We will not have this.
Side during the court proceedings earlier.
I felt nothing. I don't feel any regrets. I'm not guilty of anything. Even without me explaining, my post will explain itself. Go to my Facebook page, Amando Virgil de Ligutan. Thank you so much.
Sir. Attorney!
Your Honor, in the interest of fair play, may I request that the counsel for the panel of prosecutors, Attorney Virgil Ligutan, be recognized, Your Honor.
Unfortunately, counsel, no, the presiding officer will not allow that at this time. The presiding officer takes in advisement the manifestation of the lead counsel for the respondent, because quite frankly, Honorable Luisro, I asked the clerk of court to monitor the public statements of the counsels of the parties this past week. And one
Sige,
side has been
pagalitan
crossing
mo
the
sila.
line many times. And in fact, the presiding officer is already in the process of drafting a ruling and a warning and an order pertaining.
Kakapal kasi na pagmumukha nitong prosecution team na to, akala mo kung sinong magagaling. Puro lang naman sila paninira. Hindi lang sa Duterte, kundi sa kanilang mga kapwa-pugado. Very unprofessional, mga kababayan.
To this, because clearly, I can even name all of you who have been commenting on social media in violation of Rule 18 of the impeachment rules. But I will do that on Monday, perhaps, after taking advisement the manifestation of the counsel for respondent. It's not really so much being cordial or nice or kind, but it's a basic violation of Rule 18. I already talked to the parties 2 weeks ago, reminding you that you might want to consider appointing spokespersons who are not part of the panel of prosecutors nor a private prosecutor, but you insist on maintaining that. So after 2 weeks, the court is constrained to make a decision and ruling on that. But we will do that on Monday with the permission of both counsels. Then we will hear you, counsel, and we will hear Attorney Ligutan prior to the court's ruling on the matter. But be advised that again, we have it all on tape. We have been monitoring everything. We may not enumerate it one by one, but we will make the corresponding ruling on Monday. Thank you for bringing that up, counsel. It gives me a reason to actually issue the ruling, which we have prepared and have been preparing the past few days. On Monday, Attorney Ligutan, we will hear you before we make the ruling. Thank you. There being no other matter to be taken up by the trial, by the court.
Thank you. Magandang hapon. Sa usapin nung December 21 to December 31, 2022 na ginastos yung 125 million. Pag hindi naubos yung 125 million doon sa by December 31, anong mangyayari sa pondo?
Babalik po yun sa National Treasury.
So ibig sabihin, hindi may babalik as savings ng OVP, babalik sa National Treasury.
Opo.
Now, I'm trying to understand bakit, di ba, ang ikli ng panahon, which you mentioned, maikli yung 11 days, but wala kayong finding. No? Ngayon, kung halimbawa nagsumiti sila ng mga dokumento para mapatunayan na tama lahat ng ginastos nung 21 to 31,
Laki naman ng
walang
matanggi
issue,
ko.
hindi ba?
Nakakatakot.
Kung nasubmit nila yung mga hinihiling ninyong additional documents.
Yes po.
Okay. Pero dahil hindi nila sinumite, hindi nyo alam kung tama nga ba yung gastos nung December 21 to December 31. Tama?
Opo, dahil hindi po nila na-explain mabuti.
Okay. Of course, hindi nyo malalaman kung illegal o irregular, pero hindi nyo rin malalaman kung legal o regular.
Doon po siya magpa-fall sa irregular kasi nga po hindi siya compliant with the joint
Okay,
circular.
hindi nyo malalaman kung napunta sa personal use o hindi. Tama? That's why you're asking for more documents.
Opo, tama
Okay,
po.
okay. So, kaya siguro, so kung hindi niya nagastos, babalik.
Opo, sa National
At
Treasury.
hindi niya maaring gastusin sa January.
Hindi na po.
Hindi rin niya maaring gastusin before December 21.
Hindi po kasi bawal po ang reimbursement.
So, talagang dun mo lang magagastos.
Yes po, doon sa nakalagay na period of utilization of the cash advance.
Which could be valid, dahil yun nga lang ang panahon, or invalid. Dangan nga lang, kaya kayo humihingi ng dagdag na dokumento para malaman natin kung valid ba o hindi.
Opo, tama po.
Okay. Yung usapin ng protective intelligence operations. Okay. Dati, wala namang confidential funds ang OVP, tama? I mean,
Opo, magmula nung nag-start po ako sa ICFAO.
pero dati meron ng protective services ang OVP.
Sa pagkakaalam ko po, walang yung under the PSG po ata sila.
Yes. So, yung gastos para sa security, dati sa PSG. Pero dito, lumalabas, yung casing, security, appointment, ay ginastos o ginamit yung confidential funds. Tama ba yun?
Opo.
Okay. Next round na lang.
Thank you, Senator Judge Pangilinan. Senator Judge Aquino may proceed with this interjection when he's ready. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Presiding Officer. Magandang araw po.
Good afternoon po.
Okay, so sa inyo pong determinasyon sa inyong opisina, meron pong mga disallowances, no? Tungkol po sa kategorya ng mga gastos, kung sino po yung nag-disburse. Pero hindi po naging rason ng disallowance yung mga kakaibang pangalan. Tama po ba?
Opo, tama po.
Okay. Pero nakita po ninyo na may mga pangalan na kakaiba. May Beatos, may Bacon, Heart, Queso at kung ano-ano. Hindi nyo baka red flag po ito?
Dahil nga po ang audit namin is compliance lang po, hindi na po namin verify yung identity nung nakatanggap po.
Pero hindi nyo verify, pero nung nakikita ninyo, or nung nakikita mo, hindi mo ba naisip na posibleng red flag itong mga pangalan to?
We presume po kasi regularity kasi po merong certification under oath yung SDO. This was used for the confidential operations of the agency and these are necessary and for legal purpose po yung naging paggastos ng confidential fund.
Okay, so nagkonsulta kasi yung iba naming abogado kay former Commissioner Heidi Mendoza. At sabi niya, kapag may mga kakaibang pangalan, the POA can trigger an investigation because of fraud. So hindi niyo po ginawa yun, no? Walang usapin ng investigation because of fraud.
Yung sa fraud audit po kasi, pinag-aaral, yung possibility po, pinag-aaralan pa kasi kung magpo-fraud audit po, this is the first time and yung documents po, yung transactions involving the OBP and DepEd po, contains voluminous documents na with sensitive information na pag naibigay po sa ibang opisina, baka po magiging exposed siya.
Okay, so ulitin ko So hindi kayo nag-trigger ng investigation of fraud or nag-trigger kayo?
Wala pa po, pinag-aaralan pa po with the chairperson.
Pinag-aaralan. So it's possible na magkaroon pa ng investigation due to fraud?
Opo, gaya po ng sinasabi ko, pinag-aaralan pa lang po at kung kinakailangan po, pwede pong mag-fraud audit po.
Okay, let me ask about what is fraud, no? Ano yung fraudulent? Yung paggamit ba ng alias ay fraudulent? Ito ba'y bawal or illegal?
Doon po sa joint circular, silent po kasi ang joint circular as to the use of alias po. Pero ang is dapat na ibigay po ito.
Maybe for the second round. Maraming salamat, Madam Witness.
Thank you, Senator Judge Aquino. Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo, you may proceed with your interjections. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Magandang hapon po, ginang witness.
Good
Para
afternoon.
po sa kalaman ng mga kababayan ho natin, pag sinabi ng COA disallowance, ano pong ibig sabihin po nito?
Sa disallowance po, ibig sabihin hindi ito ipinayagan sa audit po. So sa ICFAO po, pag nag-issue na kami ng disallowance, may demand na po to na ibalik yung pondo ng bayan.
Okay, naibalik ang pondo. Sumagot naman po sila, ang OVP, nung nag-issue kayo ng disallowance. Sumagot ba? Yung mga kakulangan na dokumento, naibigay ba nila?
Ang naging remedy po nila is mag-appeal po sa commission proper.
Ano po nangyari doon sa commission proper?
Yung sa 2022 transaction po, nagkaroon po ng decision ng commission proper at inaffirm po nila yung notice of disallowance.
Okay, so na sinabi nyo kailangan ibalik po yung pondo. Tama po ba? Kung sa disallowance.
Opo.
Naibalik po ba?
Hindi po kasi ang remedy pa po nila pwede pa po silang may remedy pa po sila na mag-appeal. So yun po. Tapos ang nangyari doon sa 2022, may decision, meron po silang final na motion for reconsideration na pending resolution po.
Sa COA po ba o sa SC?
Sa commission proper pa din
Commission proper. So yun po, nakalabas na po ba ng desisyon ng commission proper?
po. May pending MR pa po sila.
May pending. Magkano po yung total na inaantay natin na ibalik ng OVP at DepEd?
Yung sa OBP po, 73,287,000 yung fourth quarter. Yun po pa lang sa 2023, na-issue po kasi namin yung NDs March 31, 2026. Within the prescribed period pa po sila ng 180 days to appeal po sa commission proper.
Kaya nga po, ang tanong natin, bukod sa OVP, meron din po tayo pinag-uusapan sa DepEd, di po ba? Magkano po itong total kung alam ho ninyo ang kailangang ibalik, ang inaantay ninyo?
Yung sa DepEd po kasi may na-issue kami na credit notice dun sa first and second quarter. Tapos yung sa third quarter po, under review and evaluation pa po.
Kaya nga po, magkano?
Yung
Alam niyo
sa
po ba?
DepEd po is 112.5 million.
From 2022 to 2023 po yun?
Wala po silang budget for 22. First to third quarters po ng 23 yung sa DepEd.
112. Sa DepEd po, magkano inaantay nyo?
Yun po yung 112.5 million.
Sa OVP po?
Sa OBP po is 375 plus 73.287 million po.
So magkano pong total lahat?
Mga hindi ko na mga 4 million, 400 plus.
450.
Opo.
Okay. So yun ang inaantay po ninyo.
Yung sa OBP po. Opo.
So hanggang ngayon inaantay po ninyo.
Opo, kasi may mga remedies pa po sila na
Okay. Alright. Maraming salamat po. Yun lang po.
Senator Judge Ejercito, you may.
Yes, magandang hapon.
good afternoon po.
Siguro first question lang, no? Is it allowed for disbursement to be validly spent and still be disallowed by COA, no? Yung disbursement to be validly spent and still be disallowed by COA for want of documentation. Yun kung ba, posible ba na nagastos naman ng tama ang pondo pero disallowed pa rin ito ng COA dahil kulang ang mga dokumentong nagpapatibay ng pagkakagastos?
Opo.
So, posible pala yan. Halimbawa na wala ang resibo, no? Ganon, kaya hindi maipasa ng COA, ibig sabihin automatic na disallowed na ito pag nawala.
Pwede pong pakiulit.
Halimbawa na wala, ganun ba yung ibig sa pag nawala yung resibo, automatic na madidisallow ng ginastos dahil wala na itong maipapakita, wala nang katibayan.
Kung sa pagbabasehan po yung sa joint circular, yung sa disallowance po kasi, yung hindi siya naging compliant with the joint circular. Kaya,
Sige lang po.
tapos doon po sa sinasabi ninyo na nawala yung resibo, doon po kasi hindi natin ma-check, ma-ascertain kung talagang ginamit ba ito kung sa purpose na yun po without yung receipt na yun.
Tapos napansin ko lang din po sa iyong testimony, no? Yung pong period ng December at New Year season, sa iyong bang experience, ito ba yung normally na nagkakaroon ng increase sa paggastos ng kasi ito yung tungkol sa confidential at nagkaroon ng parang pag-spike, no? Nung Christmas season na base doon sa iyong presentation. Normal ba ito sa ibang ahensya rin?
Yun po kasi sa ibang ahensya, as a general, doon po sila sa 3-month period po. Doon po yung paggastos nila.
So yung kasi madalas pag Christmas season, yan yung peak season sa karamihan ng paggastos eh. So yung sa confidential and other itong mga itong pinag-usapan nating mga pondo rito, ganun di ba? Meron bang normal ba na ganun ang karamihan na ginagastos na panahon na lumalaki?
Hindi po.
Tapos yung COA nag-issue po ng notice of disallowance. Is it directing the officers, namely, pa-clarify lang, no? Na ibalik lang yung pera on a personal capacity pag nag-issue kayo ng notice of disallowance?
Pinapabalik po doon sa mga persons liable po sa transaction. Gaya nga po doon sa ND, yung head of agency, yung SDO. Accountant, and opo.
Tapos, yung bang, is it our understanding or correct that at agency, office with confidential funds cannot advance its payment only to members later? Kumbaga, pwede ba yung ganun na i-reimburse na lang kung nauna ng gastusin?
Ang reimbursement po, hindi po ito pinapayagan sa joint circular.
Hindi po so, ito disallowed ka agad. Kasama po sa mga dinasallow nyo.
Kung may reimbursement po, opo.
Last na po, in your experience sa inyo pong confidential fund expenses, have you come across with other agencies, ibang ahensya na nagastos yung ganito karami in such a period? Kasi meron doon 11 months na parang na-reiterate, no, sa mga nabasa ko lang po. Na ganun kabilis din po.
Yung sa ibang agency po, hindi ko na po siya pwedeng i-disclose kasi part na po ng audit ng...
That's all, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Senator Judge Ejercito. Senator Judge Raffy Tulfo. You may proceed when you're ready, sir. You have 2 minutes. Thereafter, our Senate President. Thereafter, Senator Lacson.
Madam Witness, pag-usapan natin yung safe houses ng OVP. Based dun sa records ng House of Representatives noong 2022, yung OVP ay gumastos ng 16 million pesos sa confidential funds para sa bayad o rental ng mga safe houses, correct?
Opo, tama po.
At ilang safe houses ito?
Pwede po ba ma-check ko yung records
Go
ngayon?
ahead po. Tulong na lang kita para mas mapabilis. 34.
Opo, 34 na safe houses, 16 million.
60 million. Ilang araw?
11 days po.
11 days. Okay, kasi, Madam Witness, base sa 2022 real estate data, ang real estate property, alam mo, sa Forbes Park, 450,000 a month. I-divide mo yan sa everyday, that's 15,000 pesos a day. Corinthian, 200,000 a month, divide that in per day, 6,666. Sa Ayala Alabang, 290,000 per month. Per day, lalabas siya na 9,666. Ito ba yung mga nirentahan ng OVP na safe houses nila? Galing ba sa mga nasabi ko, exclusive subdivisions?
Wala pong nilagay na addresses nung kanilang safe house. Yung acknowledgement receipts lang po yung naging basihan namin dun sa payment of rental of safe house.
Pero hindi sinabi whether Forbes Park, Amanpalo, Boracay, ganun, Dasmariñas, wala talaga?
Wala po.
So, ibangga mo yan sa mga ibang agencies na nag-liquidate para sa kanilang mga safe houses. Meron bang ganung klase mga amount na diniklara? Meron bang mga amount na ganun?
Wala po, hindi po ganun kalaki.
So, walang ganun kalaki. So, what do you think of this? Is this excessive, abusive, or out of this world amount? Base po sa inyong experience.
Ito po kasi is hindi namin naging finding. So, kasi po, nag-rely mga po kami dun sa certification ng SDO na these were used for the disbursement of CF and necessary po ito and for legal purpose. Pero kung dito po, malaki po talaga siya for payment of rental of safe house.
Kasi lumilitaw, parang 42,780 pesos per day ang bayad ng OVP para sa kanilang mga rental properties noong 2022. Sa halagang 16 million na spend nila in the 11 days. Now, sa paggamit ng mga aliases, silent ang joint circular sa paggamit ng mga kengkoy ng mga aliases para sa mga informants na tumatanggap ng confidential funds, right?
Opo, silent po ang joint circular.
Silent din ba ang joint circular sa paggamit ng isang signature sa napakaraming pangalan?
Wala pong naging provision ng joint circular doon sa mga pirma po.
So okay lang gumamit ng mga isang pirma sa napakaraming informants, pangalan informants?
Dapat po, ito ay mabigay sa totoong tao po. Yun po ang importante sa joint circular.
So therefore, dapat i-amend na lang yung joint circular kasi naabuso eh.
Opo.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Senator Judge Tulfo. The Senate President is recognized for his interjections. You may proceed, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Gandang hapon na Miss Eileen. Tama po ba, narinig ko kahapon na kaya na disallow yung OVP for 2023 amounting to 375 million is dahil ibinigay ni Acosta kay La Chica yung pera.
Yes po, Your Honor.
Okay. At so lahat yun dinis-allow in 375.
Opo.
Tinitignan ko rin tong transcripts ng House kung saan sinabi ni Acosta na yung fourth quarter of 2022, ibinigay rin yung 125 million kay La Chica. At on the same transcript, November 25 to 2024, sinabi naman ni Fajarda na ibinigay yung 37.5 million kay Colonel Nolasco. So in both instances, yung fourth quarter of 2022, saka yung buong DepEd confidential funds, ibinigay ng Special Dispersing Officer sa iba. Kung ganyan rin ang sitwasyon, di dapat ma-disallow rin yung fourth quarter ng 2022 at buong DepEd confidential funds. Tama po ba?
Yun po kasing sa disallowance nung sa DepEd, di ba nga, yung sa DepEd po kasi is di ba po meron na kaming na issue na credit notice. And dahil nga po sa additional information after namin ma-release yun, August 2024 po kasi yun, November 2024 nagkaroon ng CGPA. So pinag-aaralan pa po kasi this is the first time po kung sakali man na magre-reopen kami ng settled accounts. And ito po kasing reopening is with the authority of the COA chairperson. Kaya po pinag-aaralan po kung ito ay i-reopen dahil nga po it is the first time and this involves voluminous documents na kailangang isa-isa
Pero
po.
pag titignan natin yung circumstances, pareho eh.
Opo,
Binigay
tama
yung
po.
pera kay La Chica, binigay yung pera kay Nolasco. Kung ganun susundan natin na rational, pwedeng ma-disallow rin yung fourth quarter OVP at buong DepEd confidential funds. Tama?
Yes po, tama po.
So pwedeng ma-disallow buong 612.5 million na confidential funds sa OVP at sa DepEd. Tama?
Yes po, tama po.
At yan ay dapat ibalik
Opo,
ng
dahil,
mga accountable officers.
opo, tama po.
Bakit mahalaga ang papel ng Special Dispersing Officer?
Yung special disbursing officer po kasi, siya yung may responsibility to disburse yung cash advance. And doon po kasi sa nangyari sa DepEd at saka sa OBP, nung i-transfer po niya ito sa ibang tao, naputol na po yung chain of accountability. Nawala na po yung wala na siyang personal knowledge kung talaga bang ginamit ito ng mga security officers na pinagbigyan for confidential activities po talaga. And mababaliwala yung certification na this is for the confidential operations of the agency po and legal and necessary yung naging gastos po.
In your opinion ngayon na ibinigay ito sa non-special dispersing officer, anong pwedeng mangyari sa pondo na sabi mo kahapon public funds?
Dahil nga po naging mali yung paggasta nito, kailangan pong ibalik ito sa pondo ng
Kaya
bayan.
kung binigay sa hindi siya na SDO, non-SDO, anong pwedeng mangyari doon sa pondo?
Pwede po itong magamit sa hindi dapat paggamitan na hindi for confidential expenses. May risk po na ganun.
Alright, thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Senator Judge Lacson, you may proceed when you have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Eileen.
Good afternoon po.
I assume familiar ka doon sa Article 4, 15, paragraph Article 4, Section 15 ng inyong joint circular. Ayan, pinas ko lang sa screen para ma-remind ka.
4.2.
Pay attention sa paragraph 15.2, paragraph 2 at saka paragraph 3. Pakibasa mo na lang para hindi ma-charge sa akin.
That expenses were incurred in connection with the agency's intelligence or confidential operations and activities with supporting documents attached to the liquidation for CF and for the IF, the documentary evidence of payment kept in a sealed envelope in the vault in the office of the SDO.
Sige, sa 3, paragraph 3.
That the details and supporting documents of transactions that are classified are in the custody of the agency and kept in its vault, which may be inspected by ICFAO if the circumstances so demand.
Ang tanong ko, ginawa nyo ba ito?
Yung sa inspection po kasi ng vault, sa IF na po yun. Sa use ng...
ICFAO ito Siya sabi, if the circumstances so demand. Hindi ba dinidemand ng circumstances na inspection yun yung vault?
Yung sa
Dahil maraming aliases?
Yung vault po, yung sa vault po kasi, yung nagpe-pertain po yun sa intelligence fund, yung may vault po sa office.
CF saka IF ito. Hindi lang intelligence. Parehong treatment, Miss Eileen. 415. Ang tanong ko lang, hindi ba dinidemand o dinemand ng circumstances na inspeksyon ninyo yung vault?
Ah,
Kasi kung maraming aliases na nagdududa kayo, di ba natural lamang, logically, isipin nyo, ma-inspeksyon nga yung vault kung meron talagang mga totoong tao sa likod ng mga alias o aliases.
ang pag-inspect po kasi is through the authority po of the chairperson.
I know, hindi kayo kumuha ng authority?
Wala pa po.
Yeah, my point is, parang kulang yung ginawa niyong trabaho. Para hindi kompleto.
Kasi po may iba po kasing office na...
No, ICPAO, sinasabi dito, may be inspected by ICPAO if the circumstances so demand.
Opo.
Anyway, let's leave it at that. Ano? Familiar ka ba doon sa 2020-005?
Anong circular po yun?
Yung sa fraud audit.
Hindi po ako gaanong familiar doon sa joint circular.
Anyway, i-familiarize kita. Meron kayong office, di ba? Yung Fraud Audit Office.
Opo, may separate office po sa COA.
Okay, dito sa paragraph 3.1, yung filing, of course, ito, people's participation ito eh. Kailangan merong formal complaint, pero hindi lang complaint information, indication, or complaint na merong fraud.
Opo.
So papasok yung fraud audit investigation ng inyong office. Hindi office nyo.
Ibang
yung fraud
office.
Yeah. Pero nakalagay sa 3.1, any person who has knowledge that the transactions of, etc., no, pwedeng gumawa ng written information sa inyong, sa office na yon para mapunta doon sa logical conclusion, mapunta sa filing criminal charges against whoever, not necessarily the Vice President.
Yung sa pag-refer po sa Fraud Audit Office, ito po ay pinag-aaralan din po kung kinakailangan na i-refer to sa Fraud Audit Office. Ngayon po pinag-aaralan po namin ang office namin together with the chairperson po. Kasi kung sakaling ma-refer po ito po yung first time. And also po, itong transaction na ito involves voluminous documents na with classified information na baka pag ini-refer namin sa ibang office is ma-expose po ito. So pinag-aaralan po itong mabuti muna.
Anyway, 12 seconds na lang. Isa na lang tanong, balikan ko yung sa 4.15. Hindi nyo ba naisip na man lang na kung na-inspect nyo yung vault, kumuha kayo ng mga specimen, yun yung mga question document, yung mga signatures. Ma-compare nyo sana doon sa mga ibang officials na mayroon kayong specimen signature para ma-determine nyo kung forged yung mga signatures na sinabit sa inyo. Yun lang, Mr. Presiding Officer, Mr. Chairman.
Kindly answer the question, Celine.
I-refer po namin sa higher authority po. Thank you po.